What do I want? I want an exclusive 10-year contract, and I want oral sex from Jane Fonda. Hey everybody, welcome to the Voice of the Radical Center. My name is Jonathan Langley.
And I'm Jackie Nowak.
And we are here, as usual, talking about, from the Voice of the Radical Center studios,
everything that happened this week.
Everything that happened this week, and is anyone in D.C. doing anything remotely useful for the average working man or woman? But before we get into that, last week we talked about Bloomberg.
We did. We did not have a complete data set, though.
No, we didn't. And I'm going to be playing a game with you in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Called Who Said What? Okay, but before we get into who said what, was it Trump or Bloomberg, I want to know what you thought about the debate. Now, having said this, I didn't watch it. I can't watch it. It's more than I can.
No, let me tell you.
Go ahead.
It was riveting television.
Was it?
Oh, my gosh. It was by far the best debate. It was not only a good debate, it was good television. I didn't get distracted. I didn't want to get up and get popcorn. I didn't want to go wander around
during
or
a debate.
feel sleepy.
Wow. Yeah.
No, and honestly, some of the other debates, I would just go, okay, I'm done. I can't watch this anymore. But this one? Oh my goodness.
Now, I read something like that. One of the opinion writers in Wall Street Journal said it was a very good debate.
Oh, from the get-go to the very end.
So let me ask you then.
Okay.
As our resident, I'm just going to say this again.
Debate watcher,
because we don't. Because
that is my assignment.
Yeah, it is your assignment, because for the simple reason that we split our duties, basically, sometimes, mainly because I'm too lazy.
Well, I have noticed there's a trend there.
There is a trend there. But I will just point out that Jackie Nowak actually does, not only does she watch the debates, she'll actually record them and rewatch them and take notes.
I almost rewatched this one because
it
was just so good.
Okay, so
I rewatched.
Okay, so I'm not exaggerating.
No,
you are our
fun.
Hermione Granger.
Yeah.
We give you 10 things to do, you do 20, that type of thing. So tell me what it is about the debate that was so good. Go ahead, tell me.
From the get-go. I mean, minute or two into the debate, Elizabeth Warren says, we cannot have a billionaire that calls women fat broad and horse-faced lesbians.
That was Trump?
As our president.
You said about Trump?
No.
I knew
that
it.
was Bloomberg. And
how do you feel about that?
Immediately, it makes me dislike him even more.
Well, how do you feel about that? The reason I ask is also you have a president who said many things.
Right, and we already have that. So do we need that? Do we need more of that?
Well, I guess you could almost say that they're like a positive and a negative integer. Basically means, will they cancel each other out? Do you think, so do you mean if you have someone who's pro-Republican or pro-Democrat, but at the same time they both have this deep personality flaw, does it then become irrelevant that they both have deep personality flaws? Because, let me just rephrase it, they're both crass.
Right.
Do you then, hey, Sean Hannity, look up what crass means. I know you're going to get mad at me for saying that. I knew it.
No, I don't care.
You don't like it when I bring up Sean Boy. But
let me tell you what I think is that it's not even going to be relevant anyway, because I don't see, after his performance in this debate, I mean, he's going to be around for a little bit longer, Bloomberg is, but I don't see. There's no way he could. I don't see him being the nominee.
Is he going to be on Super Tuesday? Is he going to be part of that?
Yes, he'll be part of Super Tuesday. Okay. And apparently there's another debate coming up that he will be part of that too. But it seriously looked like somebody said, okay, let's prep for this debate. And he's like, I talk to people all day.
I've got this.
I got this.
This is me.
Business. I'm a billionaire.
Exactly.
I've got this. Don't worry.
All right. So.
And guess what? He did not perform well.
It was that. How did Bernie do? I know we're going to talk a lot about Bernie in a minute, but about polls.
Let me just walk you through the whole entire debate as if you were there where you don't want to be.
Go ahead.
But so we're in Nevada. I think that Elizabeth Warren was brilliant starting the way she started.
Really? Oh, she attacked him. That was the Bernie, we don't need a crass billionaire.
And I never really understood why do we, I've never liked it when somebody attacks somebody else, but it felt called for. Mm-hmm. It felt needed because mm-hmm. I think this is his history. He comes with this baggage and we need to know what it is. Okay? Mm-hmm. Let's see. Bloomberg. Now, Bloomberg used to be a Republican, and we didn't talk about that on the last show.
Well, Trump used to be a Democrat.
I know. So these are the things that, are going to come out. Because one of the things that Buttigieg said, he said, let's put somebody forward who is actually a Democrat. Now, that was sort of a slam at Bloomberg and Sanders all in one.
Although I think Sanders is now an actual Democrat.
He's a Democratic Socialist.
No, he's actually a member of the Democratic. He isn't a member.
He is wow. Okay. A ascribed, I guess is the word, mm-hmm. Democratic Socialist.
Yeah, I don't think he's a socialist in the strictest what I would call a socialist.
I don't think you get to define it. He's not a socialist. He's a democratic socialist. Well, two different things. Okay?
Well, the socialists can believe in democracy. It is possible.
Well,
yeah.
So he's saying that's who he is.
So you're walking me through what happened.
Yeah, I'm kind of walking you through. Okay. Bernie got onto Pete because he takes money from millionaires and billionaires. And
so what?
The question has been asked if Michael Bloomberg steps out of the race. He's got millions and billions to give to whoever takes in the step.
He actually said that. Yeah. He said, I'll support whoever.
Will Elizabeth Warren, will Bernie take that money?
I would have thought.
But they don't like taking money from
Well, you got to win, right?
Well, so it's kind of a little hypocritical.
Actually, they don't need to take his money. They just need him to run ads in their favor.
Well, there you go.
They don't have to take his money.
Yes, but can he start packing your name? That's the same as taking money.
Okay.
Technically, right? All right. Anyway, so that opened up another Pandora's box, but it was a really interesting dynamic between Buttigieg and Klobuchar. Klobuchar got asked
She's
by
your favorite, isn't she?
No.
Oh, she isn't? Okay.
She was asked by a Telemundo journalist a question because apparently she had gone on Telemundo and asked, do you know who the president of Mexico is?
It's a stupid question. And seriously. Come on.
Well, I think it kind of got her riled up. And then Pete repeated it. It wasn't just that she forgot the name, because anybody can forget the name. Yeah. The journalist flat out said, no, you didn't understand the policies we were trying to talk about. And that's what she was kind of dinging her on. And it's all nitpicky stuff, but it kind of made Klobuchar look rattled a little bit.
Did she really?
A little bit. Yeah, I think she came across as rattled and upset, but she was really pissed off at Pete because he brought it up again after it had gone away.
Because he knew, right? He knew
that it would rattle her. Yeah, and everybody knows what happened. And Elizabeth Warren came to her defense and said, no, it's not that big of a deal. We all forget names.
Yes, exactly. No big deal. It's not even relevant. It's idiotic question. If you let me get this straight, I have a chance to ask people who could potentially be the most powerful person in the world a question, and my question is, it's a bit like a game of Trivial Pursuit.
And that's exactly what they mentioned.
It's stupid. Yes, it's an idiotic question. It's like that's the best you could come up with. That's what I would have said to her. I've said I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry, but wait a minute. You've got you are here with me today. You're representing clearly a Latino television station. And the question you're asking me is, who's the president of Mexico?
Well,
come on. That's what I would have said. It's ridiculous.
I know, but come on. It's also an important thing when you're talking to Telemundo.
But not that question. It shouldn't it be like, would you allow people from Mexico to claim asylum, or would you believe in building the wall, or whatever, right?
Right, but I think that Amy Klobuchar actually came back with when Elizabeth Warren was knocking her and Pete Buttigieg on their Medicare for all who want it sort of plan, or their expansion of Obamacare, saying they don't really have a plan. She said Pete Buttigieg has consultants who came up with a PowerPoint, not a plan. And Amy Klobuchar, hers is so pitiful. Hers is more like a Post-it note. And Amy Klobuchar said, "Yeah, I'll take that. Post-it notes were made in Minnesota."
Oh, that's actually pretty. That's really funny.
And it seems off the cuff and genuine. And
I've got all my papers because people always, it's not props. We have paperwork. We do our homework, people. We do our homework so we get our facts straight, which we will be doing for the Amazon show.
Yeah.
We have to promote the Amazon show every time, starting the end of April or end of March, somewhere in there. So my question is, though, at the end of the day, Bernie Sanders just did really well.
Oh, everybody, there were no losers in this debate except for Bloomberg.
I'm talking about in the primary thing.
Okay.
But my point is, leading up to that, he did really well.
He did. Hey,
54%, I think he got of the vote.
The vote.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that for a second.
I need to get to Bloomberg.
If we're going to jump to the primary in Nevada.
Well, can we? Okay, let's do that first. Go ahead. Go ahead. Well, I want to talk about Bloomberg though, because he sent me an email. I have an email.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
or a letter, I should say.
A couple little facts. You know how Iowa gets sort of dissed, if you will, for being such a small state,
and they screwed it up royally.
Not that, but that. Why are they getting the first caucus or primary?
Yes.
When they're a tiny little state.
Yes.
They only have 3 million people there, plus, give or take.
And you can blame the Democratic Party for all this. They're a private organization. They can do this any way they want.
Exactly.
Any way they want, they can do this.
And everybody's like, well, Nevada's much more representative. It's got a more diverse culture.
I have a topic on that.
There's about 3 million people in all of Nevada as well. They're both itty-bitty.
3 million in Nevada? Are you sure?
Yeah. Okay. And guess how many people caucused? How many people voted in their primary?
Oh, yes. It's always a small number.
Like 100,000 people.
Yeah. But they're members that they vote in the Democratic Party for the Democratic primary, right? That's how they do it. You have to be registered in some states as a Democrat, I presume. Not in Texas, though, I don't think.
You can register as a Democrat.
But you don't have to be registered as a Democrat to vote in the primary, yes.
But I'm just saying, is this really better? So Nevada is the 33rd largest state in the union.
So you did your homework. You looked this up. Wow.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I was just shocked by the small numbers, and I think we've just got to do away with this whole caucus thing.
Well, this is the.
You
sound like me now. I remember telling you weeks and weeks and weeks ago, why does the Democratic Party do this to themselves only 10 months before the election?
Well,
it doesn't make any sense to me. They should have done it a year ago. They should have done it a year. Imagine if they had done this, but you never know what's going to happen. If they'd have done this a year ago. And let's say hypothetically, Bernie becomes nominated.
Oh, I think he probably.
No, but let's say it was a year ago.
Okay.
And in June of 2019, he gets nominated. Mm-hmm. Then in June of 2019, you see how he does against Trump, the incumbent. And if you don't like how he's doing, by the end of the year, you can find the runner-up or someone else to do it. The trouble is, once you've made a decision,
you're stuck with
them because there's no time to make the change.
But
they're a private institution. There's no constitutional requirement that they run the nomination for their presidential candidate the way they do. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So anyway, so you came away thinking they all did well, except Bloomberg.
Yes.
And tell us all about Bloomberg, because I have a letter from him. How did he do?
Terrible.
Why was it so bad?
He... monotone, disinterested, a little bit. Oh, so he got Elizabeth Warren also kind of attacked him on his non-disclosure agreements that he has with women. And so she was saying, will you let those women disclose what, if you're open to that, if you did nothing wrong? He's like, I mean, there's really nothing bad. At the most, some people didn't like the jokes I said. And the way he sounded so casual and so flippant, if you're assuming that you're talking to a woman and you tell like a blue joke, nobody appreciates that, period, let alone in the workplace.
This is a great
And so it is not
segue.
as casual and flippant as that.
Okay, this is a great segue then.
Perfect.
We're going to play, take my glasses off, I'm sorry. We're going to have to play Who Said What, Trump or Bloomberg.
Ugh.
And I played this with other people, and no one's got it right. Okay, so here we go.
Put my thinking cap on.
So who said this, Trump or Bloomberg? Mm-hmm. First question. If women wanted to be appreciated for their brains, they'd go to the library instead of to Bloomingdale's.
Oh, good Lord. That could... I'm going to say Trump.
Okay. I'll tell you at the end. What do I want? I want an exclusive 10-year contract, and I want oral sex from Jane Fonda. Have you seen Jane Fonda? Not bad for 50.
Oh, good.
So obviously that was a few years ago.
Lord, I'm going to say Bloomberg, because I have a feeling that Donald doesn't like strong women.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. I know that's a very good analysis, though, by the way. I know for a fact that any self-respecting woman who walks past a construction site and doesn't get a whistle will turn around and walk past them again and again and again until she does get one.
Lord. See, this is enough to exclude either man. Donald.
Okay. The British royal family, what a bunch of misfits. A gay, I don't know who that is, a gay, an architect, that horsey-faced lesbian, and a kid who gave up Coos Stark for some fat broad.
Okay, I'm going to say Bloomberg because of the horsey face. I don't know.
All right. Let's see. I like theater, dining, and chasing women. Let me put it this way. I'm a single straight billionaire in Manhattan. What do you think? It's a wet dream.
Okay, Bloomberg.
Well, there's this enormous cohort of black and Latino males aged, let's say, 16 to 25, who don't have jobs, don't have any prospects, don't know how to behave in the workplace, where they have to work collaboratively and collectively.
Bloomberg.
Why?
Well, because he had some racist policies against black and Latino.
I think the police disproportionately stop whites too much and minorities too little.
Bloomberg.
Obamacare is a disgrace.
Bloomberg.
Trans rights are about...
Or both of them. Can I go with both? Or only one person said
one.
that?
You can choose one.
Okay.
Who are you choosing?
Bloomberg.
Okay. Trans rights are about some guy wearing a dress and whether he, she, or it can go to the locker room with their daughter.
Oh, good Lord. I'm going to say Bloomberg again. I'm starting to wonder if this is all Bloomberg, but go ahead.
Actually, you are a very smart woman. It's all Bloomberg.
Oh, good Lord.
Every one of those I just read is Bloomberg. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, he cannot be the president, you guys.
But most people I read it to, all of two people, said it was all Trump.
Very Trump sounding. So they're too similar, and I think they're just of that generation of.
No, I disagree with generation. Attitude. I disagree with the generation. Well, I think it's to do with the arrogance of all that money.
I was getting to that. That's part of it.
Listen, they're 20
But
years...
I don't know that rich kids nowadays would even...
Sure they would.
...think that way. Come on.
You think?
No.
Have you watched?
It's more than just money. It's a generational thing as well.
Because both these men are in their 70s.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
And Bloomberg is what, 78?
Yes.
And Trump is 73.
Mm-hmm.
So, born in the 40s. Okay. All right, yeah. So the one that surprised me, believe it or not, was the one that you said was both of them. I was surprised when he said, Bloomberg said Obamacare is a disgrace.
I think somebody's thrown that in his face.
Because
now he's all about it.
I have a letter here from him.
Okay.
He actually says, we're going to say, it's right here, we're going to save Obamacare and make sure everyone is guaranteed health care. And if you like your insurance, you'll be able to keep it. Well, actually, I don't think anyone would argue with that, except unless you're...
Medicare for all.
Unless you're very much a Republican who's already got great health care from the state. Meaning
I think Republicans are changing their mind on it, too. I think we as a country are starting to realize that people should not go bankrupt because they get cancer. People should not go bankrupt because
I've tried to explain to conservative friends of mine who have children, if that child has a hole in their heart...
Yeah, it's a pre-existing.
It's a pre-existing. If they're born that way with a pre-existing condition, if it wasn't for Obamacare, that kid could not get insurance.
Yeah.
When they turn 26.
Yeah. And you saw Jimmy Kimmel, right? When he did his heartfelt thing, his son was born with
exactly,
a heart
and
problem,
he's right.
And it was considered pre-existing condition.
But now they're covered. Without Obamacare, you wouldn't be. Right?
Yeah.
But he has money. He can do whatever he wants, and he can take care of his son.
Well, it wasn't necessarily with Obamacare, but with the rules that Obama put in place with all that.
Okay, so we've done the who said what, and actually you were out of the three people I've done it to. You're the
I knew a couple of them had been attributed to him, and I started.
Yeah, every one of those I read was Bloomberg.
And
everyone. So last week we were talking that Bloomberg might be a viable choice, interestingly enough.
Well, we said he hadn't been tested. He hadn't been vetted.
Okay.
And I think this is beginning of his vetting, and it doesn't look good. It does not look good. He comes across as flippant and arrogant, just like.
And that's how he came across in the debate.
And just not like warm or, I mean, his opinions, and everybody on this planet has the right to change their mind and to evolve and to
actually, you know what? There's
things. So
yeah,
I appreciate that part, but his apologies for the things that of the way he used to think did not come across as sincere.
The way I use that phrase with Republican friends of mine, I am an independent. I just want to make this very clear, because my friends on the right think I'm a communist and my friends on the left think I'm a Trump supporter, but which is good. It means I'm doing my job. But I have a phrase when people tell me that.
Okay.
Why did you change your mind? It's because it's called intelligence allows for change.
Right. I mean,
if you're given new facts,
adjust.
That's why you adjust. Yeah. It's like the Earth's no longer flat. Oh, okay. It's round. Oh, okay. So yes, all right. So so were you shocked that you weren't shocked then that all of those quotes were from Bloomberg? And the question going back to this is, does that, because Trump is as bad, if not worse in many ways, do you feel they'll cancel each other out, or do you think that Trump deserves a different level of competitor other than Bloomberg? Meaning someone who's not with that baggage.
The baggage is, I just don't think that's where we want our politics to be so divisive. That's me. And they're both divisive people. Now, some people think that Bloomberg can bring in a more moderate. I don't think
he's a self-made man.
I know,
started
but
from nothing, as he points out here.
Appreciate somebody who speaks that way.
He says here, I was proud to help build New York. He goes on about, I built my business in one room and built it up and made it successful.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, built my company out of a single room. That's what he says. As a business leader, I built my company out of a single room.
And I think he's a fabulous businessman, but maybe a terrible politician. I don't know.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Creates tens of thousands of jobs and offered high-quality health care and up to 6 months paid family leave. Now, I've asked friends of mine about, he just says something, he's built a great business, but maybe he's not a politician. I have had friends of mine who, I'm not saying they're right-wing fanatics, but definitely wrote Republican, who said their get-out-of-jail card is always the same thing. Trump's not a politician. I said, well, neither am I a politician, but if I spoke like that, would you be a friend of mine? No. If I had 19 women that accused me of misbehavior, 2 of which I paid off, that's 21, a judge had ordered me to pay back $2 million from a charity I'd set up because I'd siphoned off $2 million, and 7 of the people that used to work with me, or actually all worked for me, have gone to jail.
Right.
Would you think I'm a good guy? And get out of jail on that one.
And even if you're...
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, it's surprising how many people will overlook the not a good guy thing because the economy is doing well.
Actually, we're going to talk about polls in a minute because that's the main topic.
That's what we're talking about.
Can I just do one thing, please? Please?
Oh, no, this means I'm not going to like it.
No. Trump said, this is just hypocrisy. This is why we do the show. One of the Trump said after the Iranians attacked their air base in Iraq with missiles that no one was hurt.
Right.
Then it turned out that 6 people or 12 people had headaches, as he put it. And I've got the quote here. Now it turns out it's 109 soldiers diagnosed with traumatic brain injuries in the wake of last month's attack. And
think about those missiles coming in.
Yes.
Even if you're 500 yards away, that is going to shake the earth. It's going to rattle your bones. It's going to make loud noises.
It's what war does to you, right? And essentially, this is war. This is what happened. So, and it said an unspecified number of troops were treated for concussive symptoms. 11 were flown out of there. They were bad enough. They went to Kuwait and Germany for higher level care. So I don't want anyone telling me that Trump supports the troops. Or where is people on Fox News? I'm not going to rag on Fox again because she gets mad at me for talking about Hannity and Bowtie Boy, Tucker Carlson. Where are they saying, imagine if Obama had done that. No one was hurt. And here's what Trump said. He heard that they had headaches and a couple of other things. That's it.
Yeah.
Headaches and a couple of... He just didn't want to say it because it made him
he wants to minimize the damage,
because it goes against him, not against what reality is on the ground. Anyway, the reason I'm bringing that up It's because it made me mad. Okay, so can we go on to polls now?
Well, wait a second. Before we're moving on to polls.
Oh, okay.
I have a little snack for us today.
Oh, again. Yeah. Now, we should point out.
This is kind of something I like to do.
Yes.
Since we're recording during
a day.
Well,
lunchtime.
Yeah.
So
I brought us lunch.
But you didn't bring anything healthy, though.
No,
today.
And I didn't really bring us.
Last time you bought a chicken sandwich that tried to kill me.
Well, I was
so
trying,
spicy.
And so since I knew you couldn't take the heat, I decided to go a different
All right,
direction.
go ahead. What do we got?
Get you something sweet.
Okay, what do we got?
Okay, so you've lived in. Oops, I should get closer.
Yeah.
So you've lived in Austin a long time, right?
I have been in Austin a long time, run some businesses here, and
years. 30
years
or so ish, 20.
I am an American, and I'm an honorary Texan.
Okay, yes. Well, I've been in Austin for 35 years.
Okay.
And I have a confession.
And you were born here. I'm joking.
Have never gone to Round Rock Donuts.
Just Donuts.
Outside of Austin.
Okay.
And eaten a Round Rock donut. Have you?
Oh, yes, I have. And yes, I actually have done that. And I should also, I think what we should do for the Amazon show.
Yeah.
We should give the audience Round Rock Donuts.
You run up there and you go get it because that
was
quite
Round Rock
the
Donuts.
Round trip.
If you want free publicity, we'll take a bunch of donuts for the Amazon show.
Anyway.
Okay.
So, you've had one, so you probably don't want one.
No, I want one. Although my coffee's gone cold.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Right, let me get you a napkin.
So why do you so Round Rock Donuts? Why do you think they're so famous here in Texas, here in Austin?
Well, I confess another confession today. This is just my day to confess because I ate one in the car while they were nice and warm.
Her car's made by IKEA. It's a little electric toy.
So because when they're warm, they just melt in your mouth. They're delicious and they're kind of funky looking.
They are. I was thinking that too. They're not
orangey, yellow, orange color.
Because remember, there are people listening on the interweb.
Right. So these are delicious. You really need to watch the video to get the full feel of this. But do you know why they're orange?
Actually, no, I don't know why they're orange. I've never thought about that.
I read on their website that it's because of the fresh eggs.
Really?
I don't know if other donut places use powdered eggs.
You mean like organic eggs or real eggs?
No, they just said fresh. They have been...
Well, all eggs are fresh, otherwise they would kill you.
No, but some places might use powdered eggs or something.
Oh, I see what you mean.
That's what I don't know that that's the case.
Oh, that's interesting.
Other places use powdered eggs, but they said one of the I wanted to share one more fact about them.
Okay.
Guess how long they've been around? 1926. They opened
Actually, I didn't know that.
I know, that's pretty incredible.
Wow.
And they also have the giant pizza-sized donut. The Texas-sized donut,
Do they really?
Yeah, I just didn't want to get.
No,
that.
I'm glad you didn't do that because we'd have to waste it. We can't eat that much.
I could find people to eat it for me, but
you know what? That's what we should buy for the show. When we do the Amazon show, because the Amazon show will be in front of an audience, and I think actually having food for the audience will keep them calm. Food and alcohol as well. Actually, that's a great idea.
Donuts and cocktails.
Yes, cocktails. Because it's going to be at Spider House Ballroom in Austin, here in beautiful sunny downtown Austin, Texas.
Okay, so what do you think about their donuts? Are you a big donut person or no?
For breakfast.
I went I drove past 6 or 7 donut shops. I'm amazed how many donut shops are here.
Well, I guess the profit margin has to be huge if you can sell enough of them. Because
it
costs nothing to make.
But you're not selling donuts at night or in the afternoon.
Oh, that's true. They're a morning thing.
Yeah.
You know what my ideal morning breakfast is? When I travel to hotels and things.
Green eggs and
Eggs Benedict.
Oh, yeah.
I love Eggs Benedict. Okay.
Anyway.
That was great. Well, thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
that was very nice of you. So, we're talking about polls. And the reason we're talking about polls is because Bernie just did really well in the Nevada
caucus.
Nevada caucus, which he spoke about briefly.
It was kind of half primary, half caucus. You could early vote.
Oh, really?
Which is not what caucus is.
So here's what I found interesting about this before we get into polls themselves and how accurate they are. And I have a question for you on this. Was they're saying that Bernie actually really did bring in I'm going to use the phrase here, multiracial coalition of immigrants, college students, Latina mothers, younger black voters, white liberals, and even moderates who embraced his idea of radical change. Do you agree with that? Do you think this? You watched him on television.
Do I think that's who
voted?
Following?
Yes,
yes, absolutely.
Okay. And they say his advisors are saying he has a singular ability to energize voters who have felt secondary in the Democratic Party, like Latinos and younger people. I actually agree with that because they've taken these people for granted. That's one reason why they lost. Hillary Clinton lost.
Did you know that 60% of America makes less than $40,000 a year, 40,000 or less?
Well, I know the median income is something like 45, so that sort of makes sense.
Yeah, so 60% of
close
America.
To it.
So they are speaking to most people, or he's speaking to most people. He doesn't think that even what he says about Pete Buttigieg, Medicare for all who want it, still makes people have a $8,000 deductible or a $10,000 deductible. It doesn't help you there. And then your premiums are sky high, so it doesn't help you. And it doesn't help the people that he wants to help, which is the majority of
And worse results. Again, let's just get back to this, because we'll be definitely talking about this on the Amazon show, because we're going to do, we'll have some specialists on, but for sure, we're paying more money for worse results. Now, we've done through that, but hey, there's no arguing, right? That's a fact. And if you can prove me wrong, what's our email address now, Jackie?
mailbag@votrc.com.
Yes, feel free to write to us at mailbag@votrc.com. We also just set up a YouTube channel, believe it or not. Well, if you want to see what we look like, and we're two devastatingly good-looking people.
Yeah, or you can go to our website. Oh, the latest videos are online.
voiceoftheradicalcenter.com. But just type that into YouTube and you'll find us. And as I say, there'll be a version of the show which is slicker for Amazon coming up in April. So here's the question I have for you. We're going to talk about polls and what people think of polls. So,
okay,
this is a bit of trivia for you.
Oh, I like that.
When do you think polls first came out? Who'd first started polling?
Okay, you know what? I'm going to say the very first the second presidential campaign, somebody started polling.
Nope.
Okay.
It used to be that politicians before the 30s, not before I tell you who did it, they relied on things such, this is how they knew how popular they were. It was kind of subjective. They would actually look at newspapers, look at their editorials, look at letters to the editor, and most importantly, the frequency of labor strikes to read the mood of the people. So in other words, if there was lots of strikes, well, there's trouble in paradise. But the gentleman that did it, his business is still running today. George Gallup.
Well, that makes sense. Okay.
George Gallup invented polling in the 1930s. And they used to do it by going from door to door in person at selected locations to try and be representative. Now, of course, it's done by telephone, pretty much.
And how do you feel about that? That's the way we collect this data?
Well,
would you, so here's my question for you. Would you ever answer that phone call?
I think once or twice I've actually done it. Yeah, I guess they do it enough times. They just need 1,000 people representative of a district or an area, I guess.
Oh, so you have done it?
Through the phone, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you?
No.
Really?
No.
They're just asking who you're going to vote for and what demographic, 50 to 60, whatever, 51 to 60 or 59.
Maybe they've never called me, or if they've called me, I've not answered that call. What is more likely the case. Now, I did get a letter in the mail from the Nielsen Company once, but that's the closest.
They pay.
Yes, they sent me $1 or
several
dollars.
Yeah, they pay you money. This is not being paid. So the thing is, when you actually get into polling, though, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
How many people believe in polls? And who is more likely to say they don't trust them, or who is more likely to trust them? So according to a Hill-Harris poll, and ironically, it's a poll of polls, 52% of registered voters, 52, so slightly just over half, are doubtful about the surveys they hear in the news media.
Well, let me tell you, the interesting thing is they don't allow the news to announce the winner of a race while the polls are still open, right? Now, I don't know if this is the news protecting themselves or the announcing, because they know
exit polls.
They know how it influences the vote. So all of these polls that skew towards one person or the other coming out, we know it affects people's votes, right? So
because if you think it's a landslide for someone, I'm not going to
win by a landslide. How many people stayed home?
They're going to go, I'm not going to vote then.
How many people went, oh, I'm not going to let her win. I'm going to go vote for Trump.
Yep.
So it's so hard to know, the chicken or the egg.
So 52% are doubtful of polls.
That they're
they're accurate.
Okay.
So, but here's the thing, and I've got a whole, I'm not going to do it all now, but even from the British polling and about Johnson, it was extremely accurate that he was going to win. Extremely accurate. And your point, they had the exit polls. They held so polls closed in the UK. This recent election at 10 p.m. and at 10:01 p.m. They released the exit poll, and it was extremely accurate. And polls coming up to that point before the election also basically showed he was going to win. They didn't quite capture how much he was going to win by because he won by a lot. But actually, polls are extremely accurate now.
Well, once I started realizing how they divide the data, they don't just call 1,000 people. Because when you see a poll where there were 1,000 people questioned, they actually, will only use 50% women. They divide it through the demographics of America.
Here's what's interesting: 23% of men. I wouldn't have thought this. This is male-female thing. It's very strange. They haven't said why here. 23% of men said they almost never believe surveys. However, for women, it's only 16%.
Men are more skeptical?
Men are more skeptical.
Optimistic?
I don't know. Guess who the most trusting is? No surprise, young people. 55% of voters between the ages of 18 and 34 say they believe most or almost the polls, where elderly voters, doesn't say what the age group is, it does, over 65, were the most skeptical. Only 41% said they believed almost all the polls.
So I was skeptical of polling because I believed that they were still, and for a few years back, they were only calling people on their home lines. And I'm like, who has a home line and who's going to answer their home line when they see, the poll people calling, and it's a certain type of person. So I thought the polls would be skewed in that way. But apparently they do break it down. They do a lot of data analytics and
yes, they do a lot, and I have it all here. I'm not going to go through it all, but I did read up about it. The Guardian newspaper did a whole bunch in the UK. Did a whole bunch because it's polling that is used pretty much in most Western countries now. There's the way they do it to statistics to make it more representative. They have a way of doing it to break it down, which is why most of the time. I mean, let's face it. Oh, I know the example I was going to use. So Hillary Clinton, they projected her to win, and they projected her to win by the margin of votes that she actually got, that she won the margin of votes by. What was not calculated correctly was where those votes came from. So she lost Pennsylvania or some of these other states by very small amounts, and that's because of the Electoral College.
Right.
Yes. What else have you got on polling? Because I've got a whole bunch more here on Bernie.
Oh,
with polls.
Well, go ahead. Tell me what you've got on.
So, who do you think? So this is the latest. This will, by the way, I will put this. This will be on the website or on the video. You'll be able to read it. And if you're on the interweb listening to us, just you're going to take my word for it. So we've made some graphics to go with this. But if you were Bernie against Trump right now, or Biden against Trump, I'll just give you two choices. Who do you think has the biggest? Who's going to win? But let's start with the first one: Trump or Sanders right now, as we stand today.
Well, I understand that it's Sanders.
Very good. Plus 3, 47 to 44.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, shows you Trump should be walking this. The economy is doing great. Yes, the deficit's exploded, but no one cared. No one cared in the first place. They were just making. I mean, we should care, but no one. Apparently, the Republicans don't care anymore. But the economy is doing well. Farmers are going broke. I've had friends of mine disagree with me on that, but it's true. But that's not most people. Farming only takes up like 0.5 or less than 1% of the GDP in the country, unfortunately. So they are being really hurt by the tariffs. So, but you would have thought Trump would be walking away. I mean, absolutely killing it right now. Right. But he isn't. And we know why. His personality. So you're right. Biden versus Trump. Who's a winner?
I think that's a closer one, but I'm going to say Biden just to be...
Yeah, smart woman. Plus 2 for Biden.
And so you just wonder how accurate is that, and is it taking all the delegates into
This was from today.
account?
This is from this morning.
Oh, this is from this morning. Okay.
So Bloomberg versus Trump as of this morning. This one will surprise you. That was a clue right there.
Then I'm going to say Trump.
Yeah, I gave you a clue. Plus 3 on Trump.
Yeah.
Yes. So, all right.
Well, all I could think is how angry Bloomberg would look debating Trump.
You think? No, I think the other way. I think both of them. Yeah. Because they both seem to have shallow egos then. Would you? We know Trump does. Do you actually think Bloomberg has a shallow ego based on what you saw? Or is he just arrogant?
I don't think he's going to be rattled. I don't think he just didn't come across as quite as engaged and prepared as he should have.
I think you said, I want to go back to the beginning. I actually think you said it really well. Mm-hmm. He probably had advisors. He's got the best advisors. Here's what you got to do, Mr. Bloomberg. And he's like, don't worry, I got this. I've run a business for 40 or 50 years. I build a business. I deal with people every day.
Mayor of New York,
I was mayor of New York. I know how to do this.
Yeah.
That is a surprise, actually, now I think about it. He was mayor of New York. He had to have debates and other run for elections on that.
And you just get out of practice. This is a whole different
What tripped him up the most, you think?
People went after him the first minute of the debate.
Let me ask you, though, should they have done that? I mean, shouldn't they all be going after Trump and the Republicans and not killing each other in a circular firing squad?
I think that has been the takeaway up until now, until Bloomberg got on. They haven't been necessarily beating each other down, but people are going to be falling out of this race, and so it's do or die at this stage of the game.
Okay, so I have another poll here that's more accurate on Bernie versus Trump because it's multiples as opposed to just one.
Okay.
So according to Real Clear Politics, as of, yesterday.
Okay.
Bernie beats Trump by 4.4%. And
actually, the last election, they said if Bernie had been the candidate, he would have beat Trump.
They did?
Yes, there was a lot of indicators that he was the only one who could beat Trump last time.
And not Biden?
No.
Oh, really?
Well,
2016?
Biden wasn't in it.
Well, that's true. Well, neither was Bernie.
No, Bernie was in it till he wasn't in it.
Oh, Biden never ran. That's right. Biden never even ran. Never even ran. That's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
So here's a graphic. Well, again, this will be on the...
well, let me tell you the sample questions that they do. Because they don't just go, hey, if it were Trump and Biden, how would you vote?
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
That could actually be a sample question, but they give you examples of, we'd like to get your overall opinion on this person, and they give you 5 options. You don't get to just say yes or no.
Is that the Rasmussen polls or something? Because I read that they do ask different questions sometimes. They do ask.
This was a sample CNN poll.
Oh, CNN poll. Okay.
Yeah, so they're going to say, who do you find this person to be favorable, unfavorable? You have no opinion about this person. You have never heard of this person. So they make you pick. They don't really say who's your favorite they give you parameters with which you have to answer the question. And sometimes I think those questions can be leading, right, depending on how it's set up.
And I think they try to avoid that, though. Right, they don't want to be leading.
I certainly hope so. And I know a CNN poll is probably different than a Pew poll, and also different than a.
Well, I mean, from what I read here, I mean, I'm not going
to.
They've all got very similar analysis now, and they all run it to try and keep it as clean as possible.
Yeah.
So you've never answered a polling question ever, really?
I don't think I have.
So in summary, where do you think? Not about Bernie so much now, although clearly, according to all these polls, every one of the polls I just showed is like that last one.
Right, and
had
do you
Bernie
think that
front.
Helps feed the people who go?
Feeds the beast.
Well, I guess I will vote for Bernie. I was kind of on the fence, but if everybody else is doing it, I'll do it too.
It's like, look what happened to Trump. Once he became the leader, and he was always at the front, and no one in the GOP nomination process, and no one could challenge him. He was always Ted Cruz did. There's an article in here as well. Again, I'm not going to pull it all out now because we're running out of time. But Ted Cruz tried to change the situation by working with who's the governor? Who's the senator who ran from Florida? I always forget his name. Sorry, little guy, according to Donald Trump. They have small hands. Anyway. Cruz tried to make a pact with him. You know how the Democrats right now are, we've got the so-called, quote, moderate section of the GOP, of the Democrats fighting Bernie, who's left of center. I don't believe he's an out-and-out socialist as much as he likes to claim he is. But do you do you think they should be doing something like Cruz tried to make a pact, right, with other people who were running to say, listen, we got to take on Trump, because remember, he did call Trump unfit for office and all sorts of things. Before
they all did.
Before he figured out that again, I need him to keep my job. Do you think people should drop out? Do you think Klobuchar or Warren or others should drop out?
So I think if you don't have a chance, you're just going to drop out because you
Snyder
don't get the people aren't going to give you money if you're continually polling at fifth, right?
Do you think they should even do that, though? Do you think it's a worry that Bernie will actually get the nomination? Let me ask you that question.
Oh, I think Bernie's going to get the nomination.
But do you think that's a worry? Do you think that's a worry?
It's a worry for a lot of people.
But he's super enthused.
But I think that's how this world works, is that if you get the most votes, you should get the nomination. But when it comes to the convention, if you have to have a majority of the votes, and that's the problem, is if there are still 3 people in and Bernie's got 30%, this person's got 27%, this person's got 22%, it's going to be a contested...
Yeah, brokered convention, as they call it. But do you think, though, assuming, let's say Bernie walks away with it now, Super Tuesday walks away with it, do you think that...
they should just let it be?
Let it be?
That's the rules of the game, yeah.
Exactly. And I actually agree. I think they should just let it be. Let the chips fall where they may.
That's the way it works.
Just the way it is.
Yeah.
So polling overall, let me ask you, do you believe polls most of the time? Well, I mean, clearly... A lot of people don't.
I think they're skewed, right? And depending on how it's done. There are random dialing machines that are just randomly
But these people do normalize that data.
They normalize the data, but they also say that women answer the phone more, women, and then they normalize it. I think it can be pretty accurate.
I do too.
I think sometimes there are things like with what happened with Clinton, that they're an anomaly, but I think
she won the right number of votes. It's just they didn't get it right that she was going to win the actual.
I think that you can't underestimate the value of a poll influencing people.
True, and
and I think that's why candidates love it, right? If they say they're in the lead, everybody knows that once everybody knows I'm in the lead.
As well as, by the way, let's not forget polls. Bernie won in Nevada.
So,
I mean, that's actually more important.
He won also in Iowa.
Yes.
And he won in New Hampshire.
Yes. Okay. So what are we saying? I'm going to walk away with this
not
saying...
Not by huge margins, but I think his margin in Nevada was pretty good.
I'm going to actually say I think polls...
are the right way to find out the information.
Are accurate.
Yeah.
And I think these companies are very sensitive to getting it too wrong.
Right.
So, and they've made mistakes in the past, and they're very sensitive to getting it right. And I actually agree that I think most of the time the polls are accurate, and
they seem to know what they're doing.
And they seem to know what they're doing. So, hey, that's good. But let me ask you this question: do you believe that they're... As we talk about for real Americans here, most Americans don't have time to worry about everything, meaning polls, and they have jobs and careers and things. We all work too, by the way. Do you think that we spend too much time worrying about polls? I mean, I turn on Morning Joe on MSNBC because I have to watch these damn shows, right? I DVR them. You may DVR the debates. I actually DVR Fox and Friends and Morning Joe. I don't bother with CNN in the morning. All they do, especially on Morning Joe, is talk about the polls. It's like a 15 or 30-minute segment just on the Democratic polls.
It lets you know what people are thinking.
But it's insane. It's all the time.
Well, and I know. But they know it influences us. So I think there's value in it.
You do? Okay. All right. Well, I actually think they're overdoing it, to be honest. I think they're killing it. It's just okay. All right. Anything else we got to add?
No. What are you doing this week? Anything going on?
So getting ready for the Amazon show.
Okay.
We have. Let's see. We have. We want to point people to. If you listen to us on the interweb, go to YouTube and just type in "Voice of the Radical Center." You'll find us.
There you go.
If you want to see what we look like, and you may never bother to record it again, watch it again. We are getting ready for the Amazon show. I've talked about that. Write to us at mailbag@votrc.com. Carl, feel free, excuse me, to do that because he doesn't like me, Carl. And anything else I'm missing out? I'm sure there's something I'm missing out.
No, I meant more things like,
okay.
I'm going to, Sunday night, are you watching The Outsider on HBO? Do you watch TV?
No, I watch reruns of The Office. Before I forget.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yes.
I have a present for you.
Oh, okay.
So you have to pick it up because I can't reach it. It's underneath, it's that book underneath your, it's for you. So you got to turn it around. There you go. So let me just explain this.
Please do.
Yeah, let me explain why I'm giving you this book. So you gave me this for Christmas, which is a Donald Trump thing. I didn't give you anything. But most importantly...
And he feels bad.
I do feel bad about that. But most importantly, and I mean this, so I've written a book, as you know, which we won't go into too much detail yet because it's not finished and it's being edited and proofread and all this stuff. And I like to think it's funny and humorous, and it's meant for 8 to 80. We'll talk about that another time. But Jackie actually took the time to read, not all of it. You haven't finished it yet.
No, it's a long book.
But she's taken the time. Only 3 people obviously my publisher has it, and they're doing the edits. But I wanted you to have this for the very simple reason. I read a review of this book. It's about Helen Mirren.
Yeah, who I love.
And she's one of my favorite actresses. And the reason I like this for you is because she's a strong woman like yourself, obviously highly intelligent. I'm talking about Helen Mirren, not you. No, and I just thought I just wanted you to have it because,
thank you.
And it's got phenomenal.
Actually, I'm pretty excited.
It's actually got phenomenal reviews, great photographs. So I'm told. It only came this morning
because I really don't know anything about her.
Well, she's a dame now. But she's been with the same guy since 1987.
Okay.
But she only married him in 2007. So she's very much an independent, do your own thing. I haven't met her, but I've seen her on stage in London, and I forget what it was now. But
fabulous. Well, thank you.
And I'm
genuinely thrilled. I'll
good.
Read
That's what I wanted you to have.
Give you a book report? No.
You can give me a book report. No, give me my book report first because
I'll work on that one.
So you will see a book coming out from me soon. It will be everywhere. And again, we'll go into once it's finished and I can show it. And we'll get into that. So. All right, anything else before we go?
No, that's it.
Okay, Amazon, YouTube, where else? Mailbag at votrc.com, SoundCloud, iHeart.
There you go.
What's the other one I'm missing? iTunes.
Yeah,
we're everywhere. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back.
Talk to you soon.
We'll be back very, very soon. Bye-bye now.
All right.